Hi, my name's Peter French. I'm going to present to you today the data we've collected for 2023, looking at salaries and other trends which affect the security professional in Europe. We are SSR Personnel, incorporating executive profiles. We work extensively within the corporate security risk and resilient environments, and also very much within the technology areas. This can be directly for vendor companies, but increasingly for companies that wanted to have control of their own security systems and in-house environments, and just use contractors to be exactly that, contracting rather than at the heart of their business. We own the largest database of security professionals. This data is based on our placements, which is 40,000 and counting, and also paid for bespoke services, which in the last couple of years covers 1.3 million employees and their business revenues of about 1.2 trillion euros. So on the screen, you've now got some details that we've captured through our survey. A greater proportion of respondents now are rewarded in share schemes, and it's maybe a reflection of their internal company recognition. Over 50% of participants feel that they are fairly remunerated in their current role. We cannot ignore the war that's raging in Europe, a population suffering energy poverty, yet Russia still sells every day 500 million euros of oil and gas. The Russian economy has not suffered as much as first believed. They've replaced the ASIS Cadillacs with armaments, cannibalizing high-tech plane parts from a fleet of third-party airplanes. A phenomenon we are now monitoring on social media is called what we call the quiet separation. Employees who believe that they should have had their pay increased to cover the effects of inflation. And what they're arbitrarily doing is that they're sort of withdrawing some of their employment or their effort. This is really a problem, because what happens when inflation goes down? Will they then just decide to come and work, or will they become more noticeable because you think, for whatever reason, they should be more engaged? So something which I think every HR professional or any manager needs to be aware of. We've captured some trends over the past 6 years. Changing your role has not been a priority for the past 3 years, certainly due to the pandemic. Job security has been a major concern. Employees have changed their behaviours, getting on with the job to hand, agile with reduced resources, ensuring that their job function is delivered for the business. And this has been recognised. If you look at the blue bar, we now have respondents reporting their salary was increased through job performance review. And this year that outpaced the broader based annual review. The blue line tracks skills inflation. A good example would be a group of analysts, 10 employed yesterday, but 3 now leave the company. And we find out when we go to market that it's determined the basic salary of an analyst is 10 or 15% more than the last time we recruited. This is a measurement that HR will need to track, but they don't always have access to that sort of data until they have a live vacancy available. And that sometimes is too late for when you've actually baked in the budget for the next 12 to 18 months. So here we've identified most of the sectors that we've looked at. In total, we have about 40 sectors that we usually go to market with. Here are the main ones that we've got some deep knowledge on. So if there are areas that you feel that you want a little bit more in-depth analysis, then please contact us and we're happy to look at that for you. From Eurostat, we're now actually showing and sharing with you the hourly labour costs, which are attributable across countries in the EU. Makes interesting reading when you see certainly the southern part of Europe and how more competitively priced it is against the northern areas of the EU. 21 EU member states have got a national minimum wage, of which 13 of them have minimum wages below €1,000 a month. Above that, 6 have got around about €1,500 a month. The UK will have a new minimum wage starting from April, and that will be roughly around €1,850 per month. Across the group of those 21 member states, we've actually put or listed all the areas there for you. We're also adjusted by the OECD Purchasing Power Standard, which gives us a more accurate reflection of what that purchase or what that minimum wage will provide us within each of those countries. The next few slides will actually share with you, these are specific basic salary banding across 6 job groups, categories. We've also put the bonus range in because that can be quite different between organisations. Pay excluding bonuses in the UK rose by about 6.7% in the last 3 months to December. It's the fastest increase since records began back in 2001. We see sector pay increasing, excluding employment changes, to a range of between 4 and 6% this year. Bonuses driven by the financial services sector have increased by up to 40% in the last 12 months. In the Eurozone, inflation has now dropped to 8.5%, and I think across the whole region we're obviously seeing reductions in inflation. Wage growth at the mid-management level was around about 5.2%. Here we're highlighting the EMEA roles and European roles, which I think you find quite interesting. They're staying robust. The broad bands of income are remaining the same. Bonus ranges again are remaining the same. Here we see the cyber business and resilience manager. It's probably one of the fastest growing roles that we can see when we're looking across the cyber environment, the landscape, certainly for employment. Interesting that this is a role which we started categorizing maybe only about 3 years ago. Since that time, it is a steady requirement across businesses to bring somebody in to look at, how they're going to prosecute, how do you employ across the business, what do you do with that criminality that comes out from online fraud. And actually we'll share with you some of the concerns of people that took the survey about some of the threats for tomorrow as well. So we spoke about analysts before, and now you see the cyber analysts, a very interesting role. We are seeing definitely pressures of trying to find people from computer sciences to fill the roles. Actually, what we're doing is we're obviously in competition with lots of other industries where they want similar people. So this is one of the areas where the same skills go across the whole of the workforce area. What we've done for you as well is to try and now give some sense as to what costs where and who, which country would these rates be applicable to. We put in the numero using the purchasing power parity, is that we've now given you a price of coffee across Europe, and that equalises when you go to the pay comparisons between various cities across the whole of Europe. This gives you the top 25 countries quoted by their monthly salaries in 2022. Switzerland tops the chart, which is no surprise, it does consistently. Luxembourg at number 3, I thought was interesting, but more of interest was the GDP per head of now $142,000, which is attributed to Luxembourg, which gives them parity with Qatar. So just shows you what you can do at the centre of Europe. And this is giving you some commentary from the survey, which I'll let you obviously review and read. We ask all respondents for comments, picking some of those, which is learning how to deal with people that will traverse across the organisation rather than stay in place. I think that commentary is really about the number of people, certainly I think in Gen Z, who are pretty okay at moving from one organisation to another. they don't see that they'll have a problem coming back to the organisation if you think that they did a good job the first time round. A couple of people commented about the lack of diversity they see in their own either physical security or IT teams. And they're not just gender, but also neurodiversity, emotional intelligence, and skills in computer sciences, which is an area that generally across Europe we dragged when we compare ourselves to areas such as Russia or even in the Middle East, which we've got some statistics further into the presentation. Changing demographics worldwide are creating a labour market in which really 5 generations coexist. For the first time in history, the silent generation, the baby boomers, Generation X, millennials, Gen Z, they're working side by side. With more generations in the workplace than ever before, the workplace values and working styles are changing. Understanding this multi-generational workforce and its implications will be essential for driving innovation, creating united productive teams, and adapting to the future workplace. It's important that employers do not create a ghetto environment that promotes or excludes one generation from another. To understand the challenges and opportunities and these other factors have on the future of work, Get Smart conducted some research that surveyed over 8,000 respondents across 106 countries. Their report, The Future of Work, is available online, and it provides significant insight into the current and future impact for disruptive and convergent forces, helping global business leaders and organisations to uncover sort of meaningful tools that they can use to navigate change. Organisations must be aware of that ageing workforce, multi-generational workforce. This will be created regardless of whatever they want. The possibilities and the challenge that age diversity in the workforce will bring has to be managed. The knowledge of how different generations can work together and the ability to manage their collective differences will be a critical factor in achieving business success. In fact, 89% of talent professionals agree that a multi-generational workforce makes their company more successful. So this slide shows you the workforce in cyber. Try and give you a breakdown between male and female environments. A majority of respondents continually tell us that they have cyber undertakings, preparedness, resilience. It's now either a part or a greater part of their job role. We also found some figures around how many female scientists and engineers there were, which ranges from 52% in Lithuania, Portugal and Denmark to 30% in Finland and 31% in Hungary. So these are some of the statistics we should bear in mind when we're planning our workforces and looking at how we can be welcoming to different people within our organisation. And of course, we look at what the salaries look like within cyberspace, and it's very it's hard to actually draw all the sort of differences together. But what we did do is look at a broad range of something that looked a similar sort of role, just to try to give you an idea of some of the changes. So, how much does a cyber engineer earn in Europe? Figures are on the screen there, but I mean, average 1 to 3 years, 53,000 euros, going up to a senior level around about 94,000 euros. And they're sourced through current advertising in markets such as Germany, Belgium and the UK. But how much does an IT security network engineer earn? And the average salary for them is on a 1 to 3 year scale, about 5,000 difference, lower, so 47,000 euros. And similarly at the upper level, a salary of around about 89,000 compared to 94,000. So again, keeping the differential somewhere between about 5,000 euros for people that look in a similar range. The difference would be in that 5,000. I mean, over 10 years, obviously giving us 50,000 euros, is that the cyber engineer will come out with a 2-2 in computer sciences. So they're probably better trained than the network security engineer, who obviously does get a lot of training, but much of it is on the job training, so dealing with different problems. Just to share with you something we found with our recent Middle East survey, which is available, and if you would like a copy, please email us. In Dubai, they launched in 2017 a million coders training initiative. What they wanted was 1 million Arabic speakers who could sign up and wanted to be part of the digital revolution, what they call the fourth revolution. In 2022, it was closed down because they have now over 1.2 million Arabic speaking students that have signed up in part of this million coders initiative. So we will start to see them in the marketplace in the next 12 to 36 months. Now that's going to be obviously very impactful locally, but it also means if you're looking at where coding can be undertaken, granted these are all Arabic speaking, but many of them speak English as their second language, I think you'll find that there's a good source of people in that part of the world. And now we look at the environmental, societal and governance matrix, which I'm sure many of us are familiar with, and more importantly are now working with clients or working for a company where ESG has got a C-suite initiative and people are taking notice. ESG Book, who have provided these with these details, they claim to be a global leader in sustainability, data and technology. What they're doing is trying to make ESG transparent, consistent and accessible. This is to a wide range of investors, and also increasingly those people that want to join us as organisations. They want to know what your ranges look like. They offer a whole bunch of ESG solutions, and I'm sure they'll help you, if you're falling behind the curve. What we've listed here is the top 10 organisations, which include European organisations, who are ESG leaders out of the top 100 companies rated in the world. ESG Book has examined each company on a platform. The market value of each company needs to be roughly about $10 billion. They want to focus on the largest corporations. There are 3 components to each company's ranking. The ESG score, meaning how well companies are managed on sustainability issues. The temperature score, which is measuring companies' climate impact. And the GHG emissions, which are reported, and they're the greenhouse gases emissions from companies' subsidiaries making up one total entity, which they are measuring. It is increasingly important. Yes, it's increasingly important for perhaps investors. That's what many, certainly from the States, are concentrating on, only investing in companies which have good ESG scores. But as importantly, it is those people that want to work for us. It may be something at an interview that someone will ask us, what is your ESG rating? Where are you against all these other companies? And when we look at certainly sustainability, what we're doing with the way we use power, etc., will matter greatly on how your ranking is delivered to a wide audience. The Metaverse. Are you part of it? Is your company part of it? Have you ever had a criminal act against you in the Metaverse? Anywhere you put gaming platforms, anywhere you put people, there tends to be criminality will follow in some range or form, moderate fraud or whatever. But the size and the density of this market or this area, this platform, we are talking that many organisations are predicting by 2023 anywhere up to 750 billion in commercial activity on these platforms. So it's something where if you're a security professional, I think you need to be aware of what am I going to do when our brand, I don't know, you're Nike, you're McDonald's, you've got a brand that's in the Metaverse and you've paid good money to be the sole brand doing whatever it is you do. You need to be thinking, hey, this is something which we need to take seriously, because how do you get your money back when you're actually trying to deal with different diverse and different cultural groups? The digital world of health and gaming will generate more than 30% of all new jobs. Whilst we wait for dementia treatments, within 3 years you will commercially be able to store your thoughts. And what are the ethical and security protocols to facilitate this functionality? In the world of 2032, AI machines, part of a corporate board of directors for ESG representation. 50% of internet traffic will come from home automated devices. Security implications for your chief exec when they're spied upon by their heating system. And how are you going to manage the brand reputation in the metaverse? Thank you for joining this presentation. It's been a pleasure to talk with you. Happy to take Q&A after. And if not, certainly see you in Rotterdam when we visit later in the month. Thank you very much.